All right, morning everyone. So today will be a little different. Won't be like a flow sort of style setting of yogas. Um, Today's really gonna be focused more on some self-care techniques. So like I said, have blocks, props ready. So I got blocks, lacrosse ball, tennis ball, foam roller, strap, sweep handle. Maybe we'll use it. I don't know. Chair, preferably either a hard chair, or if you want to practice on a bench or something, or at least, yeah, I'll show you when we get there. So today we'll focus more like on individual muscles and kind of how, at least for me, they're giving me a bunch of trouble sitting around more often than I would like, especially now that I'm working from home for the accounting business, and definitely now that it's even more hours. Um, so we'll just go ahead and get started, see what happens. We'll go from the bottom up. Um, so my big issues are hips and low back. Someone mentioned hamstrings, so we'll just get started with that. Generally, when I recommend kind of muscles working on stuff on your own, I'll generally recommend heating the muscle, rolling the muscle, and then stretching the muscle out. So if you have a heating pad, use that prior to watching some of these clips or practicing some of these techniques. It just makes the muscles a little more malleable, a little more pliable, so that uh, the work that we'll do on them is easier, gentler, and you're able to release generally a little further than not. Um, so we'll just go ahead and get started. So we'll do hamstrings first. So like I said, generally one muscle, roll the muscle, stretch the muscle out. Um, but first, I'm gonna just test my own hamstring flexibility. I have my laptop here. It's loading up really slow, so I won't be able to see any comments or anything. Um, Mainly because the router is so far away. Um, but definitely drop some comments, drop some questions. I'll get to them. I'll answer them, and if we need to do a follow up video, so be it. Um, no problem there. So for hamstrings, like I said, I'm just gonna test out my flexibility first and see where we end up. Who knows what happens. Um, so just standing up, I like doing a couple, 7A sort of looking things. So we'll just inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale, fold all the way down. Halfway lift, fold. So you'll see I'm not kind of reaching for the floor with my fingertips. This is a little technique that's, I use for myself. Generally, I find when I try to do this, if I'm reaching with my hands, I start compromising a whole bunch of things. So generally, I'll just keep my hands bound like this, knowing that I won't touch it. So there's no point in me overstretching or going too far forward for it. So I'll just get to a gentle place. Take deep breaths. Take a big breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Now I have my knees slightly bent, and that's okay. It's all right. Don't think you have to lock your legs. No, no, no. The goal of this is to make things accessible to you. Um, because the more it's accessible, the more you will want to do it, the more benefit you'll receive from it, as opposed to trying to keep your legs locked, and now you're in increasingly amounts of pain, and why are you even doing this? So, knees bent if needed, and that's okay. And again, just really deep breaths. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold, exhale. Rise all the way up, big breath in. Fold all the way down. Halfway lift. Fold. Rise all the way up, big breath in. Fold all the way down. Half lift. Fold. And once more, rise all the way up, big breath in. And start center. Take a big breath in through your nose. Open mouth out. Another breath in. Out. One last big breath in. Side all the way out. Beautiful. Alright, so we'll work on the hamstrings. Let me close this guy, because that ain't doing anything. Grab a lacrosse ball, grab a tennis ball. If you don't have a tennis ball, lacrosse ball, I'd suggest maybe, I don't know, what else do I have here? This might work. A little tape roller, duct tape or something. Who knows? Just something round, something firm. Lacrosse balls tend to be kind of rubber all the way through, a very hard rubber. Tennis balls have a lot more give. For me, for what I try to do, I usually recommend a lacrosse ball. Again, it's my body. If you feel you need a little tennis ball, so be it. So we'll start with the tennis ball. We'll need that hard chair for this one. What we're going to do is we're going to try to roll into those hamstrings. And what I see a lot of people, or at least a lot of videos, is people will try to foam roll in this sense. Let me show you. Foam roll the hamstrings out like this. And, it's some benefit, not a whole bunch. And the reason I say that is because when you have your legs straight, fully extended like this, the hamstring is in its tightest position. And when it's in its tightest position, it takes a lot more effort for you to penetrate those fibers and get deep into where the trouble areas may be. And also, you have very little leverage doing this. I mean, your whole body weight is over your hip here. This, the most that you can really put, if you can get really high up, great, but then you're changing the whole angle. It's just not conducive, at least time benefit wise. So the hard chair is a fantastic choice. Hopefully I have enough room here. No, I should. So I'm doing it from this angle because I won't be able to get all the way where I want to get if I'm sitting this way. Oh, actually, no, yeah. Maybe not. So I'll use lacrosse ball. Another benefit I like lacrosse ball is since it's rubber, it doesn't slide as much, and as much as a tennis ball. So you might find tennis balls just popping out all over the place, and if you have some dogs or cats, it's a free fall for them. So, seated, knee bent. Now, my hamstring is not tight, it's not stretched, so I should be able to get deeper into those muscle fibers. So with the lacrosse ball, and I'll just put that under there, and just move side to side first. You may find some good spots. So like right there's a good spot, and I'll rest my foot down on the ground. There's no need to kind of keep it up. If you're getting a nice work from this, great, stay there. If you want to go further, you can actually kind of dig your forearm into your thigh, and what's then doing is you're transferring more weight through your leg onto the top of the ball. So generally when at least when I roll things out on my own, I'll find a good spot. I'll hang out for 2 or 3 deep breaths, and not just like in, out, in, out, in, out. No. It's a big breath in, and the exhale is a little forced, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a certain distraction within my body to focus on the breath. The more I focus on the breath, the less I'm focused on where that lacrosse ball is and what it's pushing on. So it takes a little bit of the pain away, and it takes me just a little bit further. Now again, if things get too painful, back off. Don't try. We might need to do some other adjustments, and if that's the case, let me know. No worries there. So I found a really good spot, so I'm just going to hang out here. Alright, so that's a good spot. So now I'm going to move a little closer to the knee. Or if you started at the knee, move a little further back. The hamstrings pretty much run from the hip bone all the way to the knee, the back of the knee, and in some cases just a little bit past to get that little hinging motion in. And you may also want to, not just side to side, but also do some internal and external rotation. So like right there is a really good spot for me. So I'm going to hang out there. I'm going to put a little bit of weight comfortable position. Oh, it's a little too much. I'm going to back off a little. And find another spot. I generally don't stay too much time in any one spot. The reason for that is the hamstrings are a very large muscle, and most muscles tend to have so many spots in them that could be tight. To spend it on just one area doesn't seem as effective to me. Now, if you have science to prove otherwise, please by all means share. It's just that's the way I found with my body, the way that works. That's a good spot there too. So I would just do that a couple times. And then what we'll do next, oh, right there. You can also just play around, see what you find. You can switch it up to the other side. So we'll just do that real quick. See what's going on over here. So I'm seated. And it's really, from the base of the hip all the way down. And you can just find a spot. Really easy to find spots if you have tight hamstrings. And again, don't spend too much time. Just if you roll side to side, you don't find anything, that's fine. Move up and down the chain till you find something. That was a little something, but nothing. Ooh, right there. So for me, it tends to be more on the medial side, more towards the middle, where I have problems. And that might be the case with you. Yeah, not much on this side. Oh, there we go. That was a good one. So I found a good spot, and this is how I'm just leaning on it. Just putting some arm weight, because if I put more body weight, then no, it won't be a good time. And a lot of what happens too, especially now that we have the shelter in place, is if you're working a lot sitting down that you're not used to, not comfortable with, being seated down keeps those muscle fibers in a shortened position for a prolonged period of time, so that when you actually want to stretch them, standing up, forward, doing a forward fold, they're not going to want to, because they're more accustomed to being in a shortened position. They've been acclimated to that. So it takes a little bit of time to reacclimate them to a different environment. So I'm actually pretty fearful of when we're done with this, I'm going to get back to the normal bodywork stuff, because that usually keeps me pretty loose. All right, so that rolled up, rolled down, rolled side to side, found some good spots. Get the chair away, keep these over there, and we'll just stand up, do another inhale all the way up. Exhale, fold all the way down, halfway lift, and fold. Good. Come down to your knees. So another technique that I use, and we'll do another hamstring stretch. Another technique I use is contract and relax, tension release. The fancy term is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, PNF for short. And it works on a wide range of muscles. Basically, we take the muscle into a slightly stretched position, not all the way, unless that's what you want to do, and that's on you. We apply force opposite of the stretch, hold it for 5 seconds, and then release the tension, and you might find yourself going a little deeper. If you have a normal yoga practice, you do this without probably you even knowing. Those Sun A's, halfway lift, fold, rise all the way up. That's that's a form of tension release in the hamstrings. But to really focus on them, just come onto your knees, put one foot forward, and we'll just kind of do this little hamstring stretch action here. So straighten the front leg, hip over your back knee, folding forward for the hamstring stretch. And like I said, just do a comfortable stretch. No need to really kind of focus on trying to get the deepest stretch possible. No, that's not what we're doing here today. I'll turn off to the side. tuck my shorts in like that, so you can see. So you can see I don't have my knee straight. That's fine. What we'll do is we'll do the tension release. So we're going to activate the hamstring. So it's in a stretched position, but we want to activate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive our heel down towards the ground. It's almost like we're bending the knee. So you'll see I'm kind of shaking a little bit because I'm applying the pressure down. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. And on the exhale, release the tension. See if you can straighten the leg a little more. See if you find yourself a little deeper. And then repeat again. Drive the heel down. Take a big breath in. Hold the inhale. And release. Another again. Hold it. And release. Good, good, good. And switch it up. So I'll just face you this time. So again, straighten the leg, get to a comfortable position, which is right there. Bend the knee slightly, dig your heel down to the ground, hold that tension, almost like you're driving your heel, like if you were digging a hole in there, you know? Hold it, and release, straighten, see if you find yourself a little deeper. Bend the knee, heel down, hold it for the inhale, and release, straighten. And again, once more, bend the knee, heel down, hold it, and release. And then bring it back up. Stand up. Inhale your arms all the way up. And fold all the way down. So see, that's a little simpler for me. And I think we started, at least I started over here. I'm relatively close. I really force it, but halfway lift, inhale. Hold, exhale. And rise all the way up. Big breath in. Hold all the way down. Halfway lift. And fold. And bring it down. So that's a little bit of hamstring work. If you have questions on that, always feel free to reach out to me. And we'll go up into the hips, which it's going to be very painful for me. Just letting you know that right now. So for me, what we're going to work on are the external hip rotators. What I mean by that is external hip rotators are the ones that kind of take your knee out like that. So like if I have my thumb here, it's taking that out. So that's an external rotation. So we have a couple. We have glute medius, glute minimus, deeper to that. Piriformis, you'll hear that a lot in a lot of sports injuries. And then to some extent, the TFL, tensor fascial latae. So we'll work on that whole group right there. But I think the TFL is more of an internal rotator. But it's definitely like very accessible when we start getting these things. So like I said before, heat, roll, stretch. Let's say we've heated. Now we're going to roll. This can be very intense. It is for me. So we will just start off slow. So grab your cross ball, tennis ball, whatever. First, we need a couple landmarks. What I mean by that is kind of where we're going to put the ball. So if you, let's just say you have, you're lunged up. At some point, you'll feel the bone. That's your greater trochanter. If you draw a line from there straight to your tailbone, right there, so that's, let me turn this way. So it's pretty much where my back pocket is. So here's the greater trochanter, straight to the tailbone, and right in there is going to be your piriformis, and that's a great marker to start. You go in the middle, so again, greater trochanter, tailbone, that's where the ball is going to be, and we roll up and down, not in this position, in a different position, but that's where we want to start. So generally, if you're just starting off, if you have really, really, really tight hips, which I might have, relatively loose, but relatively tight, so we'll cross ball, tennis ball. Let me turn sideways again. So again, you find where that bony protrusion is right there. Take it a little towards the tailbone, and then put it on down. So I have it on the right. I have it over here on the right. With my left, I'm just gonna drive my foot down so I can lift the opposite hip up. So I'm shifting the weight of my hip onto the crossball. And already I'm getting really good pressure there. So you can stay there. You can rock up, down. So I am tensing up a lot. So really deep breaths here. Again, if it gets too painful, back off. If it gets even too painful for that, put a towel on top of it to ease it into it. Or maybe you just want to use like a block that is available to you, like the edge of a block. That's a little more accessible. So bend the lacrosse ball in the hip area, rolling around, finding some good spots, and again, find some really good spots. If you're not feeling anything, which at some point you may or may not, you want to take it a little further, your right ankle over your left thigh. So right now I have a lot of my weight in my hands because this is very intense for me. But what it also gives you some really good control as to rolling everything out in here. And again, you find some good spots. Hang out, deep breaths. So again, rolling the ball towards the hip, rolling the ball towards the foot, the foot that's down. Man, that is quite the painful adventure going on there. Okay, I'm going to back off that because that's too much for me. So you can stay there, stay on that, switch it up. So again, on the other side, you need to find that landmark. So we find where the bone is. Hey, if you're not sure where the bone is, just go up and down. At some point, you'll start to feel a lot of density. And we'll just say that's the bone. So that's the bone. So go towards the tailbone. Have the ball there. And again, with the other foot, I'm driving into the ground to lift the opposite hip up so I have more weight. If that's too much, just keep both hips down and then just side to side, whatever you are. Probably don't use loose clothes because now it's getting all bunched up in there. Again, if you need more pressure in there, heel onto the thigh, ankle onto the thigh, and then roll around. Find some good spots. Oh, that's really good. Again, deep breaths. And whenever you're ready, come on out. Generally, the stretch for those external rotators are your half pigeon varieties. The one I like the most is a full pigeon because it does both. I can do a little bit of contract and relax, and it's easier to switch things up. I'm able to do it because I have some decent hip flexibility. If not, I'll show you a couple of things in a little bit. But if you're sitting cross-legged, one shin over the other, so it's two half pigeons, hence full pigeon. And then you take a big breath in, inhale up, and exhale on down. Now, if your knees are up like this, that means you get a lot of tightness going on there. That means this probably isn't the best kind of stretch to relax into. And that's okay. No worries. So, ways we can play around with that. Grab the chair again. Sit on it. Yeah. Oh. And then just cross one ankle over the other thigh. If you're getting that stretch, stay. Your knee might be up. If that's the case, just gently rest your arm here. Don't force anything down. Just give it a little bit of motivation. If you want more, lean forward. Scoot back into the chair. Good. And you can switch it up. I gotta show you the contract relax. Alright, hold on. This side's a little tight. Alright, so I'll show you the contract and relax on this side. So what we need to do, so we have it in an external rotation. So we took, here, we took the thigh out. So now our hip's external rotated. So the way to apply pressure out to the stretch, we need to take it into internal rotation. So the way to do that, we need to find a way to kind of bring this back straight. So we need to find a way to push this down. So it's going to be like I'm digging right now my ankle into my thigh. And you'll see this is shaking a little bit. Hold it for the inhale. And the exhale, release. Go into that stretch. And again, push down. And release. Again. And release. And when I mean push down, it's not like I'm using my hands to push down. I'm actually trying to take my ankle through my thigh. So if my leg wasn't there, it would like go that way. It would hinge down. So that. And you can switch it up to the other side. So I'm pushing the ankle down. So activating a lot of things over there. Hold it. And release. Good, good, good. Beautiful. Tightness in that area tends to lead to a lot of low back pain. It does for me. So tightness in there, and also in one of the areas we're going to go to next. We'll skip the TFL today. I'll do it in a follow-up video or something. Because I want to get into QL next, quadratus lumborum. So I'm going to turn this way. So the quadratus lumborum, if you feel for where your bottom rib is, if you feel for your spine, it kind of starts right there and goes down to your hip. So basically right in your quadratus lumborum. What it does, it helps a lot in side flexion and in twisting. If this gets all kinds of agitated, then you have a lot of problems in the low back and into the hip area, which I definitely do. There we go. Yeah. Also, if you find that you have one leg a little longer than the other, you'll find one QL. It hurts more than the other. I have one leg longer. So for me, my right leg is a little longer. And what happens is, I'll stand up to kind of demo that. With my right leg being longer, now I'm over exaggerating this. So with my right leg being longer, my right hip is jacked up more so, making this muscle constantly shortened, contracted. As I mentioned earlier, if it stays that way, it wants to stay that way, and it kind of prevents itself from releasing as normally as it should. So, I'll move you over here. So we'll roll it out, and then we'll stretch it out a couple times. So to roll it, we'll grab the ball. We're going to want to use the wall for this, or actually, I got the chair. I'm going to use the chair. Why not? That's what it's here for, right? So we'll be on our backs. I'm going to come to the side first. So like I mentioned, find where your low rib is. Find where the spine is. And you might even feel some tenderness there. Keep the ball there and roll onto it. And you might need to move closer, a little closer to the spine. That's okay. So what we want to do is we want to get our weight onto the ball. So we can do that a couple different ways. So I'm kind of pushing onto. Oh my god. Okay. Pause. That hurt. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I'll talk it first before I demo it because I won't be able to do both. I'm going to drive my legs down or feet down so that I'm going to lift my hips up. When I lift my hips up, more of my weight is going to go onto that ball. So I'm just going to, and I'm barely doing anything, and I just feel a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm also rolling towards the ball side a little too. Oh wow. So you want to lift your hips up. Oh, man. Okay, no. Now lift my hips up a little more. We'll rock side to side a little bit. Roll side to side a little bit. And the weird thing is you might even feel a sensation going all the way down to your hip bone, tailbone area. Try moving the ball up a little bit. Moving the ball down a little. Right there. Again, side to side. If you feel you need more weight, lift your opposite shoulder so you're having even more weight concentrated onto that ball area. Wow. Oh, right there. And it's going to take a little bit of practice to find where that spot is, but once you start finding it a little more frequently, you'll be able to find it so much sooner. If you feel you're on your spine, you're too close to the spine, go a little more lateral. If you feel like the ball is just going to slide right out, you might be a little too far out. Kind of split the difference in that sense. Man. Oh, you're right there. And then sometimes I don't even use that chair. I just come in like this. The key is to try to relax yourself as much as possible. And again, that goes back to those deep breaths. And then switch it up to the other side. So let me turn it again. So I'll demo how to find it. Yeah. Yeah. So again, rib, go, take the thumb through the spine or towards the spine. And you'll start to feel something. Generally, there's two areas of tenderness, one closer to the rib and one closer to the hip. The hip, not so much usually, but yeah, more up on that rib area. And again, put the ball there, roll back onto it. Again, if you're on your spine, if you're on your spine, you're too far medial, take it out a little bit. If you feel like it's going to slide out, then bring it back in a little bit. So I'm just going to do this. Notice I'm not on the chair because that hurt on the other side, and I don't want to do it on this side. So I'm just going to ease into it. So a tennis ball would be great here if you've never had anyone work on your QL before. It could be a little jarring. And again, if it's painful, please back off. We'll probably need to do some stretches, some contract relaxes, and then you might be able to come into this a little bit. Like right there. So like right there, it's actually shooting down kind of to where the SI joint is. Okay. And when you're ready, come on up. come up to the seated position. So as I mentioned, the QL aids in lateral flexion as well as twisting. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Move the chair away. Take your leg out to the side, elbow towards the inside of the knee, and then other arm reaching over. Just really opening up that side body. Now for contract and relax here at this point. Now if you want to stay here, by all means. If you want to make it a little more contract, so we're stretching this way, we need to apply force the opposite way. So we're actually just going to come up. And I'm not pushing myself up with my elbow. I'm actually trying to lift myself up. Holding that tension there, holding it. And release. And again, lift up. Hold it. And release. Up. And release. You'll see kind of each time I went a little bit further. I'm actually pretty close to that toe. There we go. And then slowly come back up. I generally like to roll forward and then bring it up. It's a little gentler, at least on the other side. And switch it up. Sit up straight, elbow towards the knee, and then bring it on over. What some people experience, and it depends on me, depends on the day, the time of day, how stretched I am. If I go this way, my right side will cramp up, which is a huge tell for me that this needs to be addressed before I even have a chance at addressing the opposite side. You might find that in other poses as well. So like, for example, at least for me, if I do a lot of low lunges with my right foot forward, I may cramp up kind of in the crease area, which means that needs to be addressed before I can even do anything that would be benefited from that low lunge. So we're here, contract and relax. To contract, just lift up, hold it, and release. Inhale up again, hold it, and release. And once more, inhale up, and release. Beautiful. And come on up. And then the other thing to do is twists, which kind of my favorite is the supine twist. And it's great, kind of the little pattern we followed, because it also stretches out some of those glute muscles too. So for supine twist, I'm going to face this way. We're going to be on our backs. So bring your right knee in, and then we're going to take it off to the left, kind of across our body. So the goal here is just a gentle twist. Don't force the twist. Just basically take the knee as far as it wants to go. And I just have my weight here. This, like that. And what we want to do is we want to get deep breaths in. Now, if you want to do some contract, relax here, go for it by kind of trying to bring everything back to center and release. But I find in this one, it's just gentler, just kind of let the breath do the contract and relax. And then bring it on back. Switch it out. Left knee in, hug it in, squeeze it in, and then off to the side. And again, just let the breath do the contract, relax. You bring it on back. Hug both these in, rock side to side. And then forward and back onto your seats. Kind of shake things out a little bit, do a couple twists on your own. A little around the world action. So again, as always, take things at your pace. If you find something hurts more so than you expected it to, back off, let me know. I can do some follow-up videos for some alternatives. So we'll do some shoulders. We got about 15 minutes for that. So the biggest thing with shoulders is now that we have a more sedentary lifestyle, our shoulders tend to round forward and forward and forward and forward, so much more so that it makes things so much more difficult to open back up. Now, some people will say, oh, well, it's just posture. You got to focus on that. Keep the shoulder blades back. Yes, no. If these shoulder rounding muscles are so tight that you need to force so much to kind of counteract that, then chances are there's going to be some dysfunction that comes through, whether along the back, you might feel a lump on the neck, you might even start feeling headaches. So what I generally recommend is loosening this up, and then that makes things a little easier, a little gentler to allow your shoulder blades to retract back along the rib cage to kind of keep that proper posture. So we have kind of a whole gamut of muscles right through here that bring the shoulder blade forward, that protract it around the rib cage. So what we'll do is we'll work those muscles to hopefully loosen it up, and then we'll just do a little gentle stretch at the end, and then see where we're at for that. So, and we'll go bottom up. So the first muscle we'll kind of run into will be the serratus anterior. So if you come along the side of your rib cage, and not up here in the front, though they are do kind of attached there, you'll find a good chunk of issues like so. So this is like really as lateral as possible as I can get. I put my thumb a little posterior to that, and I'll find the actual ribs themselves. Wow. And I'll just gently go up and down. And you'll start to find some good stuff. So the serratus anterior actually kind of comes onto each rib and connects at the shoulder blade, so that the shoulder blade kind of comes in this way. So this is generally one area I would recommend a foam roller, at least a squishier foam roller, because the serratus anterior can definitely cause some issues. But more if you've never had anyone work on it, it might be a little jarring as to how the sensation might feel for you. So we're literally going to roll side to side. We might be rolling out lats as well. That's okay. We might be rolling out teres major, minor. That's okay. No worries. What we're really focusing and trying to get to is the serratus anterior, and sometimes we have to go through other muscles to do that. So I'm actually going to switch this way. So it's basically just like on your side and rolling up and down. But also too, when you find a good spot, is to move the arm forward and back like that, or around, or just kind of changing the angle of where you're at on the foam roller. Because the serratus anterior has so many different fingers, it has so many different lengths. What one position is good on one kind of finger of the serratus anterior might not be good on the others. So that's a really good spot. I'm just going to hang out there a little bit. I'm going to play around with adding more pressure. To do so, you lift your hips up off the ground. That was a bad idea. So I'm back down. and then roll more this way. So we're probably getting other muscles now too, the closer you get towards the armpit. Just try to stay as relaxed as possible, calm as possible. And again, play around with the angle, so I'm rolling back a little bit, seeing whether there's other muscles that need to be rolled out while we're here. And I'm also doing like some shoulder rolls here. And not like arm circles, like bringing the shoulder forward, up, back, and down while my arm is just kind of stationary there. Okay, great. And if you want to switch up to the other side, go for it. Now we're just covering a couple muscles here. There's a dozen or so different muscles that could be affecting shoulder and neck issues, at least. And it could also be generated too from, as I mentioned, my right leg is longer than my left, and that brings my right hip up a little higher, which kind of takes my spine in a slightly different curve pattern and just changes what's going on in my shoulders, what's going on in my neck. So again, find some good spots, do some shoulder rolls, shoulder shrugs. And if you find a really good spot, hang out. And some days you might feel like rolling more, some days you may just feel like just hanging out. It's okay. We're doing this, we're doing that. We're doing good. We're getting some shoulder rolls, shoulder sides, shoulder whatevers. Good. Oh, that's a good spot for me. Didn't expect that. I'm actually feeling it run down kind of a little bit the back of my upper arm. And that's the thing with some of these muscles, is you may feel sensations in completely different spots. Don't think that there's something entirely wrong with you. Just make a note of it. Work this a couple times into your week. See if it gets a little better. See if it gets a little worse. If it gets worse, back off. Ease into things a little more. Because we're here to move more, not move less. So if something's going on that's preventing you from moving further, let's take a gander at it. Good. All right. Call it a day on that one. So that was your serratus anterior. The next what we'll do is we'll kind of go into the pec area. So we got a couple major ones here though. So this, that, okay. So we're going to go into two main ones, is the clavicular pec as well as the pec minor. Clavicular pec, if you find where your clavicle is, it's kind of this bony protrusion. Kind of if you follow your neck, and it's like right here, just sticking out. If you go a little south of it, and you dig in, and you dig around, maybe you dig up a little bit. There we go. So I found it. So I actually felt a little sensation down to my forearm. So that's the clavicular pec. And then the other one is the pec minor, which if you follow kind of where this furthest bony protrusion is of your shoulder and kind of go towards, your low rib in this pattern, right where it starts to divot here into the shoulder, before it comes kind of your chest, right in there is the pec minor, and it has fibers in this way. So if you cross fiber, kind of going from your chin down your forearm, you'll start to find it, like right there, and then right there. So we're going to roll this area out, and it might get a little painful. So grab a block as well. Grab your lacrosse ball. So I'll demo it first with just lacrosse ball. So, and you can do this on the wall too. I like doing it on the ground just because I don't like standing up much anyways. So let me demo what we're going to do. So the ball is going to be, actually, you might even just be able to do this and be fine with that. Actually, no, we're going to do it on the floor. But this is just a good starting point. If you want to just put the ball around here and just roll around, and you'll find some tender spots, definitely. If you're someone that has shoulders rounded forward, there's going to be something there for sure. So find a good spot, and then we're going to lie down on it. So you see my arms kind of just hanging out here. And I'm going to roll around again until I find a good spot. And I found a good spot. And you got a couple options here. You can stay here. You can, what I generally recommend to is with the arm is to slide up and down. Kind of sweep it up and down. Because what you're doing then is you're changing the fibers that's on the ball itself and giving yourself a little massage there. And also go towards, again, the clavicular pec, so go towards the clavicle. Chances are you might not be able to get to it with this technique. So be a little careful too around your clavicle. Don't try to dig into your bone. That might be a little painful. But you might find a good spot. You hang out there for a little bit. Again, things up, things down. Let's change things up. Go to the other side. If you find that when you lie down, there's a lot of space here, you can bring a crossbow. What is this? A block. I generally like to put it on like a 45-degree angle, so that kind of my arm just kind of naturally drapes over. It's a little difficult for it to be straight. Put the ball on there. And now you can kind of roll in that area. And again, sweep up, sweep down, sweep it all around. Switch it up. Try not, if you can feel kind of like, you can pinch something, like this bundle, that's your pec major. That's not what we're going for. I mean, you may want to roll it out anyways, but don't try to focus on that. What we really want to go is a little more superior, a little closer to the head. And I bring that up now because I was almost rolling that out. But again, to even get to the pec minor, sometimes you have to go through the pec major. So don't think you're doing anything completely wrong. Just only 99% wrong. No, just kidding. If it feels good, then you're doing something good, If it feels painful, back off. Take it a little slower, switch up to a tennis ball, put a towel over it, maybe do it on a cushion, on a carpeted floor. All right. And then we'll do the contract, relax for it. So, we'll do this side first. So, arm straight out, 90 degree, and then bend your elbow up to a 90 degree. And then we're going to roll over that arm. So, and as you roll, you might need to also kind of walk your arm out a little bit and get to a comfortable spot. What we're going to do, the contracture, so the force we're going to apply, is to push down and also try to lift the elbow up. And do this gently. Don't do 100%. Just push down, see if you can lift the elbow up while keeping kind of the wrist down. Hold it. And then release. See if you roll a little further. And again, push down, try to lift the elbow up. And then release. Push down, lift the elbow. Hold it, hold. And release. And then bring it on back. Check it out. Other side. So arm out, 90 degree bend. Take it to a comfortable roll, and you might need to walk things out a little bit as you get there. Get to a comfortable spot. And then we'll do the contracture. So again, it's not only down, but it's also trying to lift the elbow up. But gentle. So we're there. Push down a little bit, lift the elbow up a little bit, hold it, and release. Elbow down, push down, elbow up, hold, release. Push down, elbow up, and release. And bring it back. Shake it out. And then we'll just do a little relaxing pose to kind of end things up today. Just sit up, shoulder rolls. See how things are feeling. A little looser, a little easier to kind of bring back. If so, fantastic. If not, let me know. Because we might need to look at some other things at that point. But we'll just do a little supportive fish to wrap things up. So grab your block. I generally put the block right around here on its low setting to start. Find my way to the ground. Let my head fall. Let my arms fall. If this is too much for the neck, grab another block for your head. It's okay. If this needs to be higher up, so be it. What we're doing here is just kind of letting gravity open things up a little further. You can stay here as long as you want. For me, after about a minute or two, my hands start to go numb. So we'll come back up. Come up to the seated position. Hands at heart center. Eyes closed. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for playing around. See what happens. We didn't use broomstick, so I'm sorry about that. Actually, no, I'm not, because that would have been very painful. Hopefully we don't have to use that, but let's see. Take a big breath in through your nose. Open mouth out. Thumb knuckles to forward center. And thank you for sharing your practice. We'll bow forward together and say, Namaste. Great job. So again, a little different format. It's something I feel I needed for a while. Maybe you did as well. Maybe you need more. If that's the case, let me know. We could probably alternate a rolling out video, a yoga video, rolling out video. Whatever. If you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, let me know. If you have any recommendations on some musicals that are on YouTube, let me know. I dig that stuff. It's a fun little way to escape. Otherwise, y'all enjoy the rest of your day, week, month, and hope to see you soon.